Hello and good morning. My name is Meenakshi. I'm a 5th semester journalism student, and today we have with us Dr. Shaival. He's been a part of CAIAS for the past 7 years. Today we are diving into the world of wizards and words with him. So let's get started. Hello, sir.
Very good morning to you, Meenakshi. I'm
Good
very
morning,
happy
sir.
to be here.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my first question is, why do you feel like reading should be an important part of students' life?
Right, so especially children should start off reading early because it helps inculcate a sense of imagination in children, and it also makes them empathetic, right? We live in a world where we are constantly being attacked by too much information, and I think
Right.
information is overtaking imagination. So that's why I think children should start reading early. It makes them better people, develops character, so on and so forth.
So, like as a child, did you read a lot?
So unfortunately, no, I did not have the opportunity to read a lot because in my household, people did not have much of a habit to read. But when I made friends from other communities, they used to read a lot, and then I started reading the books they were reading, and I read a bit of science fiction, and that's how my journey of reading started.
Do you remember the first book you read?
Right, so there's a very interesting incident to my journey of reading. We had this teacher in school called Asha teacher, and she was everybody's favorite teacher. And she was leaving the school for some reason, and we were all very emotional about it. And so I especially went to her house with my parents, and I said goodbye to her, and she gifted me Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer. So that's one of the first books I read, and
Yeah,
she
yeah.
also asked me to circulate the books amongst my classmates. So I did that as well.
Well, surprisingly, even I started off with the same book. Like, in the sense, when we were in 4th grade, I was forced to read that because it was a part of the syllabus.
Right.
And then from there, it just took on.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
it's one of the most popular books.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Do you feel like reading has a very huge impact when it comes to character development?
Right, like we already briefly mentioned that it develops imagination and empathy in children, and it's also a very immersive experience. So, like there is that expression to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right?
True,
So, when
true.
you read that, you get multiple perspectives. You can imagine being different people, and that helps you be more open minded and look at things in a more complex way. So, all these things go into making a better character, and it also makes you debate things within yourself, or even if you're talking to another person. So, that's why I think reading is very important.
True. It makes you an holistic person.
Right, a
Yeah.
well rounded person,
Well-rounded
yes.
person. What's the last book you've read?
So I've been busy with my PhD thesis, so
Oh, is
that's the
it?
last book of my own creation which I've been reading. But out of the books I was studying, I would recommend Such a Long Journey by Rohinton Mistry. It's a book set in the 1971 India when there was the Bangladesh Liberation War happening. So it captures that time period very well. At the same time, the protagonist is a Parsi man. His name is Gustad Noble, and he's struggling with his finances, and he has 3 kids, and he's trying to make both ends meet. While he's in the middle of this Bangladesh liberation war, which forces you every night to switch off your lights, and you have to cover your windows with black paper in order not to be attacked. And he also gets involved in a big financial conspiracy. So that's a
Oh,
book I highly
wow.
recommend. Such a Long Journey by Rohinton Mistry.
Could you tell more about your PhD? Is it related to novels or how is it?
Right. So my PhD topic is mapping Mumbai, a geocritical study of selected fictional narratives, where I look at these 5 fictional texts, and I look at how the fictional Mumbai is created. Right. How do you know how much is real Mumbai and how much is fictional
Yeah.
Mumbai? And it also looks at how the city is experienced by different groups of people from the angle of class, gender, race, religion, disability. So this is the kind of work I have done in my thesis.
Okay,
Yes.
that's really insightful.
Yes.
Um, so my next thing I would like to talk about is self-help books. So it's hot topic in the market right now. Everyone is all behind self-help books. What is your take on it? What's the
Yes.
last self-help book you've read?
Yeah, so I'm not really into self-help books like everyone these days. If I want to learn something, I just go to Google and ask questions to Google Baba. But as a child, the same teacher, Asha ma'am, had made us go to the library and issue books, and I had issued this book called Power of Positive
Yeah.
Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So that was my favorite book for some reason as a school kid.
Yeah.
But later on, I found out that it's the favorite book of Donald Trump as well. So I stopped liking that book, and I don't really remember the contents of that book. But that was an influential book, you could say. But I do not
Right.
remember what it was about.
Okay. Well, I
Yes.
am big on self-help books,
Okay.
so I would like to recommend you one. It's
Okay,
called as
sure.
Ikigai. I don't. It's
Okay.
pretty famous, but yeah, it's about holistic development and how you have a growth mindset.
Okay. It's a Japanese
It's yeah.
concept.
So Ikigai means the way of living.
Okay.
So it helps you have like a potential and power into life.
Right, right.
Yeah. So my next question is there are so many people who enter the world of reading through Harry Potter. So were you one of them as well?
So I have an interesting incident to narrate here as well. My sister was a big fan of Harry Potter. Her friends also used to read Harry Potter a
Right.
lot, and it was all over the media and everywhere. And I used to be a bit of a contrarian that if somebody is doing something, I'll do the opposite of it. So
Right.
I have never read, I must confess, the Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
But now that I'm done with PhD, I might take it up. But
Oh, you
I
should.
decided not to go down that path, and I'm
Okay.
not really interested in fantasy so much. I like realistic writing more.
Realistic writing. So coming to Indian literature, who are your favorites? And who do you think children should start off reading with?
Right. So in Indian writing in English, I think R.K. Narayan is very good,
Oh
and
yeah,
Ruskin
Malgudi
Bond
Days.
is also very good. The writing is very simple and very accessible, and there's just
Yeah.
so much of the good short stories, and also the Malgudi Days. The television serial is also available, so
Yes,
both I
Prime, I
recommend.
guess. Amazon Prime.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the R.K. Narayan books and the Malgudi Days series
Malgudi
as
Days.
well.
I have a sister, she's like in fourth grade, and she's also just like me, she's into reading. So
Okay.
right now she's started her reading journey. So right
Okay.
now she started with Malgudi Days and like Diary of Wimpy Kid and all those books.
Oh, that is excellent. Yeah.
Yeah,
You should encourage her to
I should
read more.
encourage, yes. So as a teacher, what are some of the tips or some of the actions you take so that students start reading books or like get into the habit of reading?
Right, so we live in digital times and we are struggling with an overload of information.
Yes.
So, first of all, I think these Netflix series and other things have taken over the habit of reading, and it's a very debatable thing. But I think just like Netflix series, books are also a very immersive experience. It just requires a little more discipline from your side. So, you have to switch off your phone and put it away somewhere where it's not accessible, and then get into a book and read it from cover to cover. So
Right.
that's what my advice is: switch off your phone and read a book, because it's much more rewarding than a Netflix series. Like, you may
Yes.
forget Netflix series after a while, but books you will remember, and they are equally entertaining.
True, true, true.
Right.
Don't you feel like the digitizations like completely took off like the habit of reading and like
Yeah, it has made people less voracious readers, but it has also freed up information. For example, if you wanted certain books, you would only find them in certain libraries in certain parts of the world, but
yeah.
now you can have access to them. But again, once you have access to them, what are you doing with it, right? Is it just lying in a folder in your laptop, or
Right.
are you actually reading it? So again, I would say it requires a bit of discipline to just
Right.
read a book from cover to cover, and
True, true.
it turns into a very rewarding experience later on.
Yes. Coming to libraries, so there are so many famous libraries all around the world, known for their extensive number of books. So, what is one library you would like to visit? If so, you have one favorite dream library or something like that?
Oh, there are no such libraries, but every Indian city has the British Library,
British
and
Library.
I have visited some of them, and they have an excellent collection of books. So I would like to go there again. And even our Christ Academy library is fantastic. I would recommend it to all of you. We have an excellent collection of books now. We have an entire, what do you say, shelf full of John Grisham books and a lot of exciting books. So you should
Yes,
check it out.
I'm a frequent visitor of the library, so I'm
Okay,
very aware.
that's good. Okay.
Yeah. So, my last, we would like to conclude this
Yes.
by the best way of doing that could be by you giving a few tips or to some young readers.
Right. So my tip to young readers is start off with authors such as Ruskin Bond and Arkin Ryan. And yes, if you're a teenager or somebody who has a phone, switch off your phone just for a while and just get into a book. And it's a very immersive and rewarding experience at the end.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Truly. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. And honestly, I feel like this is a very insightful podcast, especially for people who are going to read or who are getting into the journey of reading. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure being here.
Thank you.